Hi all, welcome to the second video in vectors. In this video, we'll talk about two-dimensional vectors. This is something I couldn't cover in class. I thought I'd do it in next week, but given that we have assignment 7, which involves vectors, let's cover two-dimensional vectors as well. So in class, we have covered two-dimensional arrays. So the deal with 2D arrays is that we have length or number of rows and number of columns. In the similar way, we can create 2D vectors. And the other name for 2D vectors is vector which consists of vectors. So we call it as vector of vectors. This is a two-dimensional vector. So now, how do we write vector of vectors? So we start with the vector keyword as usual, but this time, this 2D vector is going to consist of subvectors. So we have to call it as vector of vectors. And now I'm going to create each subvector of integer data type. So vector of vector, which is vec. I'm not defining the size. I'm not doing anything here. I'm not defining the size and anything. And let's see how this is. This is the way a vector of vectors of integer types. Okay. So I'm not defining the size at this point. Now, what this means is, since we are already discussing 2D vectors, let's say this is where my identifier vector is pointing to. I do not have anything in this as of now. Now, if I have to push something at the back of this vector, remember, this is nothing but vector of vectors. So if I have to push back something, then it should be a vector of integers. So vector int, and then this time for this vector, we are not going to give an identifier because we can access the first vector that we are going to push using the 0th index. So do not give a name, nothing, simply open and close parenthesis. This is an indication that I'm going to create an empty vector inside vector. So the moment we do, this is the 0th index, there is an empty vector now. Okay, so this is the meaning of it. Now, if I'm writing a for loop for int I0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and then if I'm doing the same thing, vector dot push back of vector of integer types. So this means I'm pushing 10 empty vectors. So 1, 2, all the way till 9, 0 to 9, 10 vectors. All of them are 10 empty vectors. So empty vector, and so on, empty vector. So if we see here in the code file, I created a 2D vector. Now, all I'm doing is I'm pushing empty vectors. I'm pushing 10 empty vectors into that vector of vectors. Now, if I say the size of all these vectors, the size of all these vectors will be zeros. So all these starting at 1 all the way till 9, or starting at 0 all the way till 9, they're nothing but the size of all these vectors is going to be zeros. So zeros starting at 0. So that's what we just created. Now, if I want to add if I want to access this vector, so this vector is at index 0. So if I want to add or push something onto that vector, vector of 0 means this vector dot push back, and let's say I'm pushing back a 0. This means this is where our vector is pointing to. And 0, 1, so on till 9. All these are, let's say, come on, yeah. All these are empty vectors. But now here, we just created an element and we gave it a size 0, sorry, element 0. So vector of 0 is this, the of pushback of 0 is this. In the similar manner, if I do vector of 1 dot pushback of 0, that means the first vector, it will no longer be an empty vector, but vector of size 1, element 0. If I do vector of 0 dot pushback of 0, then this is going to be 0. The size of this vector is going to be 2. In this manner, if I want to access vector of 5, that means the sixth vector in the vector of vectors, and if I do push back 1, so somewhere here we have index 5, it will no longer be an empty vector, but instead a vector with size 1 containing element 1. So this is how we can access. Now if we see, the way we are going is, we have to access all the subvectors using their indices. So let's say these are their indices. For accessing indices, we need one for loop. Let's say we use for loop of I. And now for every time, if we want to add, like, let's say 5 zeros or 10 zeros into each of this, let's say I want to do something like vector of 0 dot pushback of 0. I want to do it like 5 times. In the same manner, I want to do vector of 1 pushback of 0 5 times, and so on. For all the elements or for all the subvectors, I want to do this pushback of 0 5 more times. So the way I do is, if we see, we need one for loop to go from for int I0, I less than 10, I plus plus, one for loop to go from 0 to 9. And we need second for loop int j is 0, j less than 5, because I have to push 5 zeros into each of the vectors. I'm going through second for loop, and inside the second for loop, all I'm doing is vector. And remember, the variable that keeps track of vector index is I. So vector of I, and each of the subvectors are accessed. So I goes vertically and j goes horizontally, adding 5 zeros to each vector subvector. So this is going to be 0. So if with the help of 2 for loops, we are going to add 5 zeros into each of the subvectors. That's our intention. So if we see the second program file, here I'm creating empty vectors 10 empty vectors. And each time I'm going through like all the 10 empty vectors. And within each empty vector, I'm creating 5 elements. The elements are going to be 5 zeros. So this is the program intention. This is how we can access vector elements. Instead of pushing back zeros, we can also do something like C in vector of I of j. We can also get input from the user. Here I'm doing simply pushback. We can also do something like vector of I of j is 0. We can try out these things. So, or yeah, give these a try. In this case, I'm creating all the let's say I'm doing pushback like 5 times. So I'll slightly correct this. So I'm doing pushback on the subvector like 5 times, and each time I'm pushing element 0 to it. So that means the way these vectors are going to look inside memory is we have 10 vector of 10 vectors, which is like vector of subvectors 0 all the way till 9. And now we did pushback 5 times. So 0, 0, 3, 4, and 5. And similarly, 0, 0, and so on. 5. So this is nothing but a matrix now. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is nothing but we can treat it as matrix. And we already saw how we can print the vector elements using the arrays using 2 for loops. So see out vector subvector ith subvector jth element and then a space. And then just to ensure that we are going to a new line, we'll do that. So if we see the output, this is how the vectors that we just created are. We created a 10 by 5 matrix or 10 subvectors. Each subvector is having a value. Each subvector is having 5 elements. Now the deal with vectors with these 5 elements is, so far they were zeros. Now what we can do is we can get input from the user and populate it into each of these subvectors, which is totally fine. We can get input from the user. So if I run this, oh, my bad, I haven't compiled. Now the CPU is asking, the computer is asking me for an input. I'm giving the inputs. Oh, okay, I gave one extra element, 26, 30, yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41. And then, so now I just accepted 50 inputs and all the vectors are populated into it. I just read it, but I didn't print it. And I don't want to type all the 50 elements again. So this is how we can accept all the vector element inputs from the system, from the end user. And we can also do the way we wrote file elements into a 2D array. We can also do the same thing. We can use files as well. So vectors, 2D vectors are similar to our 2D arrays, nothing fancy, but The way we declare is just a bit tricky. We call it as vector of vectors, whereas in 2D arrays, we use two square brackets to give the number of rows and number of columns. In this case, we use simply vector of vectors. And the way to access each subvector is using the whatever their row index is. And this is how vector of vectors or 2D vectors work.